Welcome, Waldorf, to our closing ceremony. We wish we could be in person, but we can't. It's been a wonderful year, a strange year, as you know. And I hope you enjoy this last time that we gathered together, even though it's virtually. We'll make the most of it. So welcome and enjoy the ceremony.
As the school year draws to a close, we marvel at the perseverance and courage of our faculty, our students, and our parents. This global pandemic has brought with it much uncertainty and fear, but also the opportunity for human courage and strength to shine through. This morning, I light this candle for our school community, where the courage and strength demonstrated by teachers, by parents, and students in rising to the unwelcome challenge this global pandemic has brought. I also light this candle for our wider community, our state, our county, our frontline workers, and also our global citizens across the world, in honor of, as much as a reminder of, human courage, strength, and sacrifice.
My dear first grade class, what a wonderful year we have had together. So many adventures we have had while you've each been gathering the keys to unlock the treasure box of knowledge that you each have inside of you. Whether it's been watercolor painting, drawing in our main lesson books, learning about all the letters in the alphabet through stories and the sounds that they make, meeting Linus Minus, Priscilla Plus, Maxa Multiply, and Dina Divide, playing on the playground, gathering gems and crystals, bees and bugs, walking to visit grandmother and grandfather tree, taking nature walks through the glade and visiting the garden and seeing the chickens. So many things we have done, and we have done all of them together. And even more recently, special Zoom classes, story time with Miss McCall, and even celebrating birthdays over Zoom. We have been there as a class. I am so proud, and you should be so proud of all the good and hard work that you have done, both at school and since you've been at home. I can't wait until we can be together again as the second grade class of the Waldorf School of Atlanta in the fall. And no matter where you go, no matter where you are this summer, keep playing, keep getting outside, keep discovering all the mysteries around you, and keep being the wonderful children that you are. No matter where you end up, know that I love you and that I wish the very best to you and your families.
Dear mighty, mighty grade 2, the class of the rising third grade. You have traversed mountains and have passed out of King Counter's land into villages of people who changed from young miscreants into folk who are kind to all people and animals, like Francis and Jerome. You know rebels now who stand strong for good, from Lucia to Greta Thunberg, who lead us from darkness to light. We have seen the life's work of Alvin Ailey and the movement he passed on to dance and to all of us. Revelations are here to stay, dear sir, yours and ours. Sister Rosetta Tharpe lifts our eyes to heaven as we hear her truly rock before anyone rolled. Strange things are happening every day indeed, Ms. Rosetta. You also heard, as Cherokee children heard before you, how things turned out for the hare at the steady hands of the turtle, and a few of his friends posed on hilltops ahead, and across the world for the whale and the tapir at the hands of another trickster. You are but whiskers away from skip counting tables 1 through 12, backward and forward. And you learn to put those snails in their place, a place of value, where once tens, hundreds, and thousands of strawberries came to the rescue of Mr. Mead's garden. You have many strengths. Among them, you are gifted listeners. You can hear your tree. You can hear the quiet half hour of rest reading time. You listen to your friends, and you see them because of that. Sometimes you hear nothing but the clinking of paintbrushes against water jars as you make colors that no one has made before you. You listen to each other as you read in pairs and as a class. You listen to your voice in your body as you grow into strong, expressive readers. You are readers, grade 2. You hear Mr. Ken greet you each morning as you learned day after day to give your full attention to the person before you. You can do anything together. I do believe you can dig your own path through a mountain, as Mr. Mamiji did so many years ago when no one else would. And you have so many here who want to help you along that path. You've heard rain come after so many dry months. I hear your laughter in little waterfalls still. I see your bodies jumping together into water and over little streams when we ran out into that downpour. Those days will come again. Here's to those days, and here's to you, grade 2.
Hi, I'm Melinda Ivanovich, teacher of the amazing, smart, and talented grade 3, who normally would be standing behind me. But they are here in spirit just as all of you are. As you heard at our opening assembly this year, grade 3 is a year of doing. And grade 3, boy, have we done a lot. We jumped right in at the beginning of this school year, and we learned measuring. We may have flooded the classroom. Shh. But you used those newly learned skills to create the most amazing, delicious harvest feast for over 100 people at the very beginning of the school year. And not only that, but you impressed me so much with your willingness to jump in and your bravery to learn the entire cantata again right at the beginning of the school year and to perform it in front of those 100 people along with our harvest feast. I am still so proud of all you accomplished. Some of my other favorite memories of doing this year, grade 3, I hope you have some similar memories, are of camping at Black Rock Mountain State Park, are visiting the apple orchard and seeing a real live peck of apples, which we learned how to measure, of seeing you all measure your steps and each other and figure out how is it fair to have a yard that is from here to here, which is different from everyone. I so loved seeing you all at home even continue to do with me. You explored your own houses and yards, attics, and crawl spaces. You counted electrical outlets and faucets and calculated how much time it may have taken the electrician or the plumber to install. You have learned to measure and calculate the area of your bedroom. You are also impressive. And my hope for you is that you have a happy, healthy, and fun-filled summer, and that we can all be together again in August. I love you and miss you all, and I am so very proud of your accomplishments, grade 3. Have a great summer, everyone.
My dear 4th grade, this has been a year like no other, and to speak to you like this feels distant and lonely, but it's what we need to do this year. So I want to speak to you and give you a few memories of this year to keep you hungry to learn and connected to each other. I remember the first day of school, we invited 2 new members to our class, and then I set you on the task of finding out your name in runes to introduce the Norse mythology block and the Norse runes. We had a lot of fun with that assignment, and you dug into it with great hunger. The stories of the Norse myths punctuated our year with great characters and fantastic stories of adventure, of wisdom, mischief, and all the in-between. And throughout the stories of the Norse myths, we learn about the consequences of the actions, not only of the gods, but of ourselves too. The Norse myths remind me too, even though our play wasn't a Norse myth, it to me reminds me of those great characters that you brought out in your class play, which I was so proud of how you persevered through all the sickness that we had. And each character, each role was vivid and memorable. The music, the acting, the whole story came out just so much in the mood of 4th grade. I was so, so proud of you. But the Norse myths weren't the only stories we heard this year. We also heard stories about the native people, the Cherokee and the Creek, the characters in their stories, and the spider and mud turtle and the coyote, of course. And then in the history of the state of Georgia, we heard about the clash of peoples of the new and expanding United States as they ran into the cultures that lived here long before they even arrived. And especially in our great state, in the town of Dahlonega, where the first gold rush took place. You learned a lot about the state of Georgia and our history and the map, and I hope to keep expanding on that in later years. Sadly, we didn't get to complete our class trip this year since we had to take a break from school due to COVID. But I hope to make that up in the coming years when we can return to class trips again. Now, as you well know, math is one of my favorite subjects to teach. And this year, the big part of math was learning fractions. Well, I'm pleased to say you have survived fractions this year, and we've even recently, through our Zoom classes, taken a little look at 5th grade math with decimals. And don't be afraid. Well, maybe a little bit afraid, but don't be afraid. It's just math, and it's beautiful. And I just want to remind you about fractions. If you ever get confused, just think of pizza. Pizza has a wonderful way of making everything clearer. And whatever you do, don't forget to find a common denominator. Okay, I had to say that. But also, the last weeks of the year, we got to return to our study of animals, which is another big part of 4th grade. And my dears, I can't tell you how proud I was, even through our Zoom classes, of all the hard work that you did to put together your animal booklets. One of my just driving forces is looking forward to that day when we can come back into the classroom together. You can bring your booklets and we can all see them right up close. I really, really long for that day. And so, as this year comes to a close, as a parting wish, I remind you that we will say goodbye to some of the members of our class, and to those of you who won't be with us again, I wish you well on your path. You have been just wonderful, each and every one of you. And to those who will be returning, stay hungry to learn. And I wish for you this summer that you have a long time of playing in nature with no screens in sight anywhere, but also to stay connected to each other and to me, and know that you will be in my heart. And we'll find time, using the screens since we have to connect to each other, to see each other, and to plan for that time when we can come back together again. My dear fourth grade, thank you for a great year.
We'd like to say a fond farewell to two of our faculty that will be moving on to other things. First, to Carmen Hambrick. Since Miss Hambrick's son joined our parent-toddler program many years ago, we have been blessed to have her and her lovely family in our community. Ms. Hambrick has held many positions at our school, including receptionist, afternoon kindergarten assistant, second grade assistant, and her last position, assisting in Miss Annie's kindergarten. With her husband's new business growing, Ms. Hambrick will stay home next year to support his efforts, as well as being available for her family. Ms. Hambrick has brought such a sweet presence to the classroom and will be greatly missed after so many years of nurturing and guiding our youngest students and their families. We also say a fond farewell, albeit a temporary one, to Miss Abby Wright, our 8th grade teacher. Miss Wright will be taking a one-year sabbatical next year, and after 9 years of teaching at our school, the first year as a grade 1 assistant, and then all 8 years, 1st grade through 8th grade with her class. We celebrate the end of this momentous journey for Miss Wright, and we wish her a year of well-deserved rest, new inspirations, and fun adventures.
Good morning, 5th grade. I want to tell you how proud I am of the creative and skillful ways you've navigated these past few months. It hasn't always been easy, but you've risen to face every new challenge with enthusiasm, humor, and flexibility. When our pentathlon had to be canceled, you rose as champions to participate in the first ever Zoom opening ceremony. And you demonstrated courage and determination to compete in individual challenges in discus, running, long jump, javelin, and wrestling. Many of you challenged your parents to a wrestling match and emerged victorious. In preparation for these games, you crafted beautiful odes and called on inspiration from the Greek gods. Each ode you wrote was as unique and special as you are. And in your words, I could feel the radiance that you each offer to the world. I admire and appreciate each of your unique gifts. And as we come to the end of our 5th grade year together, I want you to know how honored and grateful I am to be your teacher. And on behalf of all the teachers who have brought their wisdom and creativity to you this year, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your energy, for your insightful questions, and for your willingness to face the unknown with such open arms. Although Poseidon may rage and roar in the stormy seas, the gentle grace of Athena watches over you and guides you on your path. We will find our way forward together. I wish you joy, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Oh, hello, 6th grade. I didn't see you there. So, welcome to the end of our year. I've been thinking a lot about what I would say and how I would end the year with you in this virtual way. And all of this thinking kept leading me back to the beginning of our year together. If you think all the way back to last August and September, our world was normal. We started off the year with geometric drawing and work that required great specificity, amazing attention to detail, focus. And as much attention and specificity as it required, it was somewhat simple and straightforward, ironically, because we were in a room together. The work was tangible, and we could do it. And the year seemed usual, rigmarole. It was the same as always. And it makes me think a lot to that story we heard in the beginning of the year of ancient Troy. And like that ancient civilization, when we thought everything was going to be okay, we got Trojan horsed, and our lives were turned inside out and upside down. But if you think back to that story and its outcome, spoiler alert out there, Troy survived, at least in spirit, for Aeneas escaped, and he took to the Mediterranean. He started a new life, and in so doing, following his destiny, began a new empire, the Roman Empire. And so, 6th grade, if there is one thing that we have learned from this entire year, is that the only thing permanent is change. And although I grieve that we've lost much of our year together, I cannot help but celebrate the new things that we've found together, virtually, online, things that we never would have been able to explore without the hardships that we have faced together. And so, 6th grade, though Rome itself grew and then eventually collapsed and turned into a dark ages of its own, we ourselves are experiencing a similar dark age. But like the Renaissance, we ourselves will experience a rebirth, and I am so looking forward to experiencing that with you next year. And so best wishes, 6th grade. My love to you and your family. Have a wonderful summer, and I'll see you next year in 7th grade.
We're very excited to welcome to our faculty this year Miss Sophia Silk. Sophia joins us again. She was our grades 1 through 5 teacher of our current 7th grade, and we are so excited that she will be our rising grade 1 teacher for next school year. So please join me in welcoming Miss Sophia Silk back to our faculty.
Good afternoon. My name is Lila Rubio, and I am the proud teacher of the 7th grade class. This year we've accomplished so many things together as one unified class. We learned perspective drawing at the beginning of the year, and I'd even hire some of my students as interior designers. We also spent a bit of time recreating the Renaissance during our class play, which these amazing 7th graders wrote themselves. It was going to be a murder mystery Renaissance feast. We were 1 week away from our performance that was scheduled for March 20th. We were heartbroken that we couldn't perform it this year, but we look forward to doing it sometime in the future. Our 7th grade students also took a deep dive into the continent of Africa. We learned about this amazing land and the people who call it home. And then, during our remote learning block, Senora de Luna, who has been our class's art teacher all year long, had them make these amazing masks from Côte d'Ivoire. One of my favorite blocks this year was creative writing. As an engineer, this block used to terrify me, but now it's one of my favorites in all of the middle school. I feel like the students come out a different person on the other side of this block. Of course, they also studied math and science. Miss Annan taught them one of my favorite things in the world, which is algebra. And we also took on inorganic chemistry during remote learning. I could actually see their intense eyes through the Zoom meeting, taking in the experiences, And then I know I could see their brains working as they thought their own way through why these chemical reactions occurred and what they mean. It was an awesome block, even in remote learning. I'm so proud of you, 7th graders, for persevering during this coronavirus pandemic and actually learning things. Each and every one of you remained engaged with your education, and I even learned a few things about workload. I appreciate the universe continuing to bring the lesson, less is more. I love each and every one of you 7th graders with my whole heart. You love to learn, you work hard, and you have an overwhelming amount of creativity. You love your friends, and you love your families. And you're soon to be the cream of the crop 8th graders. Have a restful and blessed summer. I love you.
The Rose Ceremony is a Waldorf School of Atlanta tradition and one shared by Waldorf schools worldwide. On the first day of school, our 8th graders gave a rose to each of our 1st graders to mark the beginning of their journey through the grade school. In turn, now on the last day of school, we will have each 1st grader give virtually a rose to each of our graduating 8th grade students. This marks the culmination of their journey at WSA, be it 2 or 3 years, or for some students as many as 12 years with us. It is bittersweet, but with full hearts, that we bid them farewell and wish them the best of luck in their journey through high school. And now we will begin the rose ceremony.
Ariana Ahmad Shah, Adonis Alexander, Marlise Annis Brown, Caroline Boswell, Maddie Kamlari, Zayden Kavanaugh McAdoo, Skylar Del Pino, Elizabeth Domaschenko, Savio Fernandez, Max Forrester, Aurora Gartland, Simeon Hartman, Wyeth Karp, Leighton Lingenfelter, Ella Mackin, Julia Myers, Ellie Newborn, Kiana Sabra, Owen Tobias, Laurel Zidane, I pass this flame to the rising 8th grade class.
I want to thank everybody for being here and for showing up. Special thanks and recognition to a couple of special people, or groups of people. I want to say goodbye to our 8th grade students. We are going to miss you deeply. You're such a big part of our school, and thank you for your time here on campus, and we wish you the best of luck. Also, our 8th grade teacher, Abby, Miss Abby, who's taken a sabbatical. She won't be here next year on campus. Well, you will see her on campus, but she will not be here teaching full-time, but we'll be back the following year. So we look forward to her return, and we will miss her. And also Miss Carmen, and the kindergarten assistant teacher, who is going on, won't be here next year. We will miss Miss Carmen deeply. Such a great spirit around campus, and I know her students and parents will miss her also. And then I leave with you a thought. I think of a quote that is a favorite of mine. Every ending is just a new beginning. So even though we're ending the year, we're also leaning in and stepping into a new beginning, stepping into a new summer. And then next year we'll be stepping into a new school year. So even though this year comes to a close, we look forward to all the new beginnings. Have a great summer, and we'll see you in the fall.